Hi, my name is Kane Ramsey. Thank you very much for choosing to join me in what I hope you're going to find to be quite a thought-provoking and quite an eye-opening training course, as I do my very best over the next 12 to 14 hours to break down and dissect some of the main ideas and principles that make up this fascinating field of study, cognitive behavioural therapy. Now, CBT was first conceptualised back in the 1960s by a gentleman named Mr. Dr. Aaron T. Beck, a phenomenal gentleman who, upon his research, upon his studies, had come to identify that there is such a profound connection between that which happens inside of our head and that which we do. That which happens inside of our head is what he referred to as cognition, right? Hence the reason, cognitive behavioural therapy. Behaviour is just simply what we do, it's what we say, it's how we sometimes react or respond to the circumstances and the situations that we find ourselves in life. So my job as your teacher over the hours that follow is to help you make the connections for yourself. The connections between that which happens in your mind and that which you say or do. Because if you can come to better understand yourself in this way, I can guarantee you that over time you are going to come to significantly better understand the other people that you interact with on a day-to-day basis, and possibly even begin to start helping other people also understand themselves. So this training course is intended as an introduction to the subject. It's going to be absolutely grounded in cognitive psychology. I'm going to do my best to blend together quite a number of time-proven theories and concepts from other great thinkers who've contributed into the field, and then I'm going to integrate some of my own as well, all right, just to spice things up for you just a little bit. So here I want to take a few minutes just to break down exactly what it is that we're going to be looking at over the next 3 sections of videos. CBT offers us a framework that promotes accurate thinking, all right, emotional intelligence and general increased personal effectiveness. Could you do with some more of that in your life? If the answer is yes, fantastic, you've come to the right place. In the first couple of videos, we're going to be looking at what CBT is, also what it's not. I'm going to introduce you to a very time-proven and easy to understand communications framework. Now, sometimes when we think about communicating, we think about talking, don't we? Perhaps engaging in a dialogue or interaction or a conversation. I like to propose that as human beings, we're all communicating all of the time, even on those occasions when we're not saying anything at all, right? Because communication is how it is that we show up sometimes, isn't it? You know how sometimes we might be in an interaction with someone, we might not be saying anything, and through our not saying anything, we could be saying absolutely everything. Sometimes silence can be really awkward, because even silence within itself is communicating. We can communicate through our actions, through our behaviours, through our facial expressions, right? So we have verbal communication, we also have non-verbal communication. What we want to understand is this basic overriding communications framework that helps us to appreciate how it is that we communicate and interact with the outside world, and how the quality of our interactions with our outside world has an impact on what it is that happens inside of us, cognitively, rationally, emotionally, which then goes on to trigger our behaviours. Now, this might seem like a brand new idea to you, but I promise by the time you're completed this training course, you are going to be completely comfortable in all of the concepts that I'm going to be presenting you with. So we're going to look at the foundational assumptions of CBT. Because we all have assumptions, right? There is another word that we can use to define assumptions, and this is beliefs, right? The beliefs are weird and wonderful things. Some people live out their days operating from a place of wise, grounded, established beliefs. Other people succumb to all sorts of fantastical, ideological perspectives in life. And what I'm saying is, our beliefs kind of give us this invisible foundation upon which we build our life. If our beliefs are robust, if they are mature, if they are strong, if they're healthy, we're going to go on to live robust, strong, healthy, mature and consistent lives. But not all people have this, because not all people get the same start in life. All right, our kind of Our initial learning experience as human beings is our parents. We're brought into a family environment which is either going to be okay or not so okay. Some people are graced of having a better parental upbringing than other people. And the reason why I say this is because our first exposure to other people is family. We begin to look at them, we observe them unconsciously, we look at what they do, we look at how they act, and then we model them, because this is essentially how we learn. All right, we do this, we all do this, every single person in the world does this. We do this most often, completely unaware of what we're actually doing. But have you ever found yourself, saying, oh my goodness, I just acted like my mum, I just behaved like my dad. Oh my goodness, my mum and dad used to say that. And we have these little tendencies, little habits. And we say, oh my goodness, I remind myself of my parents in some way. And you don't want to be, like your parents, perhaps in certain ways, but you've learned to be like them. And of course you have, because you spend the earlier years of your life observing them. All right, so the reason why I say this is because beliefs are developed over time. If we want to live our life with a greater degree of intentionality for the purposes of being more effective, becoming more efficient in the context of our relationships, more productive in our works, we've sometimes got to take a little bit of time to review that which we believe and make some adjustments if appropriate. All right. So this cognitive behavioural therapy framework of kind of ideas gives us a basis upon which we can review our own ideologies, our own perspectives, our own beliefs, and then make some shifts if necessary. All right. Has anyone ever told you that it is 100% possible for you to change your mind about anything as soon as you've been presented with some information that's a little bit better than the information that you currently have? Right? This is true about all things in life. So I want to give you a basis, get some foundations in place for you to begin to grow and enhance your cognitive awareness. Cognitive awareness, another term for it, is self-awareness. There's a basic idea that I want to help you to really understand throughout the sections as well. We all want to be effective, don't we, relationally, right? I am pretty convinced that we all have room and space in our life for better relationships, for more meaningful relationships, for more authentic relationships. Am I right? Of course I am, all right? Because you're not perfect, I'm not perfect, no one else in the world is perfect. So when you have two imperfect people trying to have a relationship, the relationship's naturally going to be imperfect. Hence the reason I say we all have room for improvement. So, there's a basic idea. And this is that there are some factors that need to be in place in order for us to be effective in our relationships. First and foremost, we've got to be aware of ourselves. If we're not aware of ourselves, we can sometimes end up emotionally reacting, sometimes to what we think people are saying or what we think people are doing, instead of what they're actually saying or what they're actually doing. Sometimes we can put two and two together inside of our minds and come up with 372. That's right, human beings have the capacity and the potential of getting things wrong sometimes. All right, so self-awareness actually allows us to become more aware and conscious of what we're thinking, sometimes the automatic assumptions that we make. Right? How many people do you know are 100% convinced that every single assumption that they've made is accurate? Right? Listen, sadly, there is no mandate in most modern contemporary cultures that kind of is in place that really kind of teaches people how to live life well. If you think about what the cornerstone of modern society is, well, it should be family, it should be relationships. But as we look around, so many relationships are ending in divorce these days, maybe after 1 or 2 years of marriage. The social institution of family, where it used to be strong, going back decades ago, today it's become weak. People are living very individualistic lives, not fully aware of how it is that their actions and behaviours are actually impacting the quality of their relationships. Right? So some people end up living the best parts of their lives just inside of their heads, completely unaware of how it is that they're being received or the impact that they're having on other people's lives. So it's good to be self-aware, because once we become more aware of ourselves, we can then learn to regulate and manage ourselves. Now, there is an entire industry called psychiatry which will not advocate this idea. What the world of psychiatry will tell you is that pretty much every undesired emotion that you have, if you've got a bit of stress or anxiety or you're sad or you feel depressed or something like this, there's an entire industry that's been established that serves no greater purpose than to diagnose people and essentially put people in boxes in response to the life experiences that they have, right? This is not the purpose of cognitive behavioural therapy. We're not here to diagnose anyone. We're not here to put people in a box and deem people as being mentally unwell or having poor mental health or anything like this. Cognitive behavioural therapy instead is a social science, right? It's one of the main schools of psychology, which exists to understand human behaviour. So what I'm presenting you with here, two very different perspectives. Both are at play in society today. Some people are naturally interested in understanding the reasons why people say and do the things that they do. Other people hold certain positions and are paid a lot of money to simply diagnose people in response to the things that they say and do. Do you know what diagnosis is? It's just a guess. That's all diagnosis is. So what we want to understand are the facts. We want to get some principles and become grounded in understanding human behaviour. Because once we understand ourselves, we can then better regulate ourselves. What we'll find is that as we grow in our ability to regulate and manage ourselves effectively, we resultantly become naturally more self-aware of other people. And then as we become more aware of others, right, and less focused on ourselves as human beings, which can sometimes be our default setting, we naturally become more relationally and socially effective. So this is a process I want to help you to better understand. And that's why this is so important today. I want to highlight a number of ineffective behavioural infrastructures. Sounds like a complex term, but it's not, right? Just the reasons why some people behave and act the way in which they do sometimes, right? This is going to be kind of like me holding up a mirror to you so you can look at yourself objectively, reflectively, contemplatively, and not just have an opinion, not just agree or disagree with what I'm saying, instead look to identify what is true, right? Because the truth of the matter is we only get one life, right? We don't have any say when our life begins. We're also not going to have a say as to when our life ends. So we might as well make the most of this little dash that we have in between. And if we can understand the ways in which we sometimes might not be so effective in terms of our behaviour, our responses on a day-to-day basis, we can start then to make some modifications. But it all starts as we grow in self-awareness. So I want to share with you a number of principles for growth and maturity, all right? And consider what your goal is for taking this course. Do you want to take this course so you can get a bit of paper at the end of it? Do you want to take this course so you can impress the people at work and just say you've taken a course? Or do you want to take this course so you can grow and improve yourself in some way? Would you like to take this course so you can develop a deeper understanding of yourself and grow in maturity? Perhaps in consistency, maybe in decisiveness. How about in strength? Would that be okay? Could that be a goal that we could work on together? Let's go with that, shall we? So I'm going to share with you some principles that you can actually go to build and base the rest of your life on if you want to, or you can share them with others. It's entirely up to you. Cognitive behavioural therapy as a field of ideas was always intended to be shared with other people. So I want to introduce you to some highly practical people skills, also to help you develop some social skills, right? Because what we're working towards here is social effectiveness, right? As we learn to manage and regulate what happens inside of our head, this should go on to equate to us creating more positive and healthier outcomes in our outside lives, i.e. better relationships, heightened productivity, and so on and so forth. All right, so this will then lead us to wrap up the course as we explore some practical cognitive behavioural therapy, real-world applications. And this is essentially us asking the question, okay, so what? So all of these ideas are fantastic. We've got some great theories, some concepts, some principles, but so what? What am I going to do with this stuff? Well, towards the end of the course, I'll make a couple of suggestions about what it is you might possibly want to go on to do next. So I'm going to take you on quite a comprehensive journey in quite a short period of time. All right, so the training course will be around about 12 to 14 hours, something like that. So a few other notes just to be aware of before we officially get started. There's a Facebook group called Principles into Practice. This is my own personal Facebook group, all right, if you would like to join to engage in discussions around the topic of personal growth, professional development and self-improvement. Discuss what you're learning. It's not a problem-solving group, so you don't go along there and talk about your woes, right? These posts don't get approved. You can talk about how you're growing and what you're learning. Share some value with other people and benefit from the value that other people also share if you want to. So just check for that on Facebook and you can join whenever you want. There's a number of course resources that we've created that in the additional supplemental materials section, you can access them. You might have to go onto a desktop computer to access the additional materials. Sometimes it can be a little bit tricky to find on certain handheld devices, right? So the resources we have included to really aid you in your studies and also help you get the most from this course. Many of them are self-reflection exercises. So as I share a big idea with you, the resource then you can download, print off, or just work through online and respond to really help you think about how you might apply some of these ideas within the context of your own life. All right. Discuss what you're learning inside of the Facebook group. That's where you ask good questions. If you want to practice new skills, it might be the case you're watching this training course inside of Ecology, which is the Academy of Modern Applied Psychology, who essentially verifies these training courses. If you're a member of Ecology, you can obviously partake in all the various live events and all that sort of thing. If you're not, that's okay. There's opportunity to do so later on in the training. And this course you can ultimately join and be part of risk-free. If you decide in the next 10 minutes that you don't like me, you don't like my hair, you think my presentation style sucks, that's okay. You can go get your money back and I shall not hold any grudges against you. There's also a course learning log, a stroke journal, which we've designed and built into the additional materials section of this lecture, which is essentially just a resource that you can use to document any aha moments that you have, any important points that you feel you might want to kind of take note of, just to help you keep all your notes in one place, all right, to really help you get the most from this course. So have I covered everything? Is that it? Right, good. You're going to be happy to hear that this is the introduction officially over. In the next section, we're going to just jump right into some foundational teaching, if that's all right with you.